Hello friends, welcome back. So, if you've not been living completely under a rock, then most likely over the last couple of weeks, even days, you probably have seen a channel completely blow up. And that's the channel from a guy called Peter Lindgren. So until like a couple of days ago, I had never seen his channel before. And then one of you sent me a DM on Instagram, told me to check his stuff out. And I was like, yeah, that's definitely gonna go into a video. And so I've checked so many videos on his channels, and the couple of ones that really stood out to me, and most likely the ones that you've already seen, are the ones where he's doing some serious epic B-roll sequences. And today we're gonna look at actually 3 of those. Those were super cool. So if you have not seen any of his videos before, then click the links in the description, check those first. But are you ready for some serious B-roll magic? Then let's jump over to the computer and get our minds blown. That's some deluxe filmmaking that you're gonna be watching now. So nice. I mean, that is just so super cinematic, especially with all the sound effects, like right from the get-go with the hammering. The super smooth sliding here and very dramatic lighting. By the way, he did a full behind the scenes on each one of the videos that we're gonna look at today. It's really interesting to see. From one main light source here. And then in the background, super epic transition, very smooth here, panning the camera to the right. And then he's doing a lot of those camera movements with the actual object. Here you see a short slow motion right after he hit it. And of course he's timing it perfectly to the beat how he's hammering. The music in that one, it fits really well. It's super dramatic. With like a dark choir or something. Here the first time that hammer hits, listen to there's like a hit sound effect. Perfectly matched to the beat and this metallic clunk sound. Super dramatic slow motion and with a downer sound effect in the background. Super cool with the slow motion of the flame here. Really dramatic. I mean, how epic was that sequence, wasn't it? Here with the smoke perfectly shot into the light and so dramatic here with you see the fire in the background, the sparks, and then perfect sound design to it. So good. So good. Peter, mind blown. And that was only the first one of his videos. After that, I got hooked and I was like, dude, what more do you have for us? And then I found this one. How to shoot B-roll of a woodworker. You got your seatbelts attached? Because that one was pretty epic as well.
Quick interruption. So last week when I found out about Peter, I realized he's actually living in Sweden. And so since I'm organizing this creator meetup event in Stockholm, I thought like, how cool would it be if we try and get him to the meetup? And drumroll, Peter is actually going to come to our creator meetup event in Stockholm. Now, if you want to meet him, if you want to ask him how it feels like to have your YouTube channel completely blow up, down in the description you'll find the link to that event. I'm super excited to ask him how it feels like when your YouTube channel completely goes from a couple of thousand to now way over 100,000 subscribers. If you want to do that too, then you should come to the meetup event and ask him yourself. Let's get back to the video.
Right away it starts like this. Slowly moving backwards. And right away you're in the middle of the action. Just those couple of clips in the intro, so well timed, and especially with the audio design, I really enjoyed it. So here's camera slowly moving backwards. The moment the board hits the table, he's tilting the camera to the right and matches it perfect in another shot that is rotating, so matching the movement, that's why it fits so well. Here he's moving directly with how the wood is being shredded, and then some slow motion as that one falls down. Here, the moment that the board falls, listen to the sound effect like a hit. Here, super dramatic with the speed ramping and how he's tilting the camera, and listen to the sound here. And here in that moment, there was a pause in the music, and that made it super dramatic here in that moment. And then speed ramps it out to where the music's gonna continue. That was really cool. So here's like the sort of the same logic as with many of these reverse drone shots that you see in a lot of videos at the moment, is where you first see a scenery and then it goes back and then it reveals a lot more information. So here you go back and then you actually see this is like the full framing. On shots like these, it must be super difficult to actually have proper focusing. So none of these you would most likely shoot with autofocus. It's all manual focus. That was so epic, wasn't it? I mean, here, look at how perfectly actually the dust of his hands is flying in slow motion. So it must have been like 120 or 180 frames slow motion. Perfect timing. And then also, gotta notice, it speeds into the next beat of the music. So cool. Again here, what really sells it and what really makes you get into the video is just those little things like the clink clink sound here when he's hitting it. Super important. And here's what I meant, by the way, with he's been doing a full explanation on the videos of the behind the scenes, especially that one. Yeah, that was the best part of the entire shot, that he actually had some dust inside his hands that was then flying in slow motion. So cool, and it looks boring in normal speed. Okay, he filmed it in 120 frames per second, but then the moment that he had the slow motion, that made it look really, really epic. Yeah, so cool.
Där!
Got it! Here, that was the beginning shot. He knew beforehand that he would make a transition like this, so that's why in the very end he's rotating it out, and then here was when he cut it, and then he went through the little stick that was turning around. Do you remember the scene from the beginning?
Okej, sätta igen lite snabbare. 3, 2, 1, go!
I think it's super interesting to see those behind the scenes then, how it was actually created. He used one big light source here with a window and then another one as the light that they set up. And then it's just him in this camera handheld, and then it turns out into such an epic sequence. So cool. And since that didn't stop me from continuing watching his channel, we're gonna look at the third one actually that I found, and that is the cinematic poker B-roll. And I bet that's most likely the one that you first seen on his channel, because that one has like a 600,000 views or so right now, because it's super, super awesome. Let's look at that third one also. Nice, really dramatic lighting. Super close up on the eye, and then the transitions are just so smooth. You just don't see the cut. So here, the camera is super close, and then moving away, it is so blurry that you do not see where the cut is. I would assume it was right from this frame to this frame. So close up, pan away, next shot, pan into the lighter. Here with a low pass effect where the sound goes muffled as if though it was underwater, and then the sizzling fire sound effect on top. So good. So the movement was with the camera back like this, and then continuing with the bottle. What makes this so cool is that here he has this haze, and then it's just one light source. So you see the lights coming from up here, casting that light here on the table, and so many shadows here, and that makes it look super, super dramatic. Really close up and shallow depth of field. I mean, with the smoke here. And how cool was that? So how here it's zooming in on his hand and then super slow motion on the coin flip. And again, the sound effect in the back. And that's where you're sitting there in like this short break. And then it's actually a super important thing that stands out to me here is pacing. So there's a couple of really fast cuts and then speed ramps, and then here's the super slow motion. And then it continues. And that gets you really like, oh, that gets the viewer really engaged and really makes that video so awesome. And then here the bounce camera shake in the moment that it hits the ground. Next shot also really good. Out of focus to the glass, moving with the glass and then back. There's so much movement in that and really, really well thought through. I really like that one. And that one actually is pretty difficult to get because after all, you need to make sure that here only the cars are in focus. Him actually in the background out of focus with smoke. Peter, if I had a hat, I would pull it.
Take a look at this set.
And it's so funny to see afterwards actually how the set looked like, because that's like the most plain and boring room, and that is just a black backdrop, a smoke machine, and the light. How cool is that? That's what it takes to make such an epic sequence.
That is cool.
That was really cool, yeah.
And I also bought the smoke machine for this particular video, and that cost me like $50 on Teknikmagasinet as well here in Sweden.
And I mean, how cool were those sequences, right? So if you haven't seen Peter's channel before, then you've been absolutely missing out. The link to all those 3 videos is in the description below. To all 3 of those, he has a full behind the scenes, which is insanely interesting to see for any filmmaker. If you've been enjoying these kind of videos, then over there is a playlist with lots more of these reaction videos. Hope you enjoyed this one. If you're new to this channel, subscribe, and until next time.